Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, watch people of the internet. My name is Roy. Thank you for joining in. I feel very honored to anybody watching this video. This video could have one view, and I feel so honored. For any of you all just following kind of the last video I uploaded, I'm coming off the high of buying my very first Rolex from an authorized dealer. Most counterfeit watch brand in the world, so there's no way I'm going gray market. And there's this thing about the chase of being put on a wait list and then being called back. So if you haven't watched that video, please do so. It's linked in the description. I'll probably pop it up right here as well. But without further ado, I would like to talk about my Black Bay 58925. And I'd love to give like an umbrella review of the piece from an owner's perspective. This is not a review talking about necessarily like super nerdy on the specs and stuff like that. My reviews are more so just coming from the user's perspective. All right, so let's kick it off with the first thing I had in mind about this watch, the strap. So as I mentioned, the watch has held up great, but the strap unfortunately has not. This is the leather strap. It also comes in a kind of NATO fabric material strap, which I really like. Unfortunately, this leather strap has kind of broken down over time. Not the strap itself, rather the little buckle. However, I think the strap itself can continue going for another 4 years. The little buckle, on the other hand, is just fighting for its life. And that to me is kind of normal wear and tear. 4 years into it and starting to experience this maybe starting last year was a little bit of a bummer, but there's nothing a new strap can't fix. I have contacted my AD about probably getting it replaced, and they're getting back to me if they could replace the whole strap or if they can just replace the little buckle itself. Moving on to the second thing about this watch, the metal. The sterling silver alloy. It is a 925 proprietary alloy from Tudor themselves, who they claimed shouldn't tarnish, or at least not as much as your standard 925 silver. This is still 925 silver. Again, it just has their own proprietary elements into it that is supposed to slow down or prevent the tarnishing altogether. I started seeing tarnishing just a few months into ownership. It wasn't super obvious. It was only obvious to me because I owned the watch. However, now at this point, I'm gonna say it's very obvious. It's very obvious on the backside of the watch. I guess the part that sits on my skin. The rest of the watch has aged really well. It doesn't, the tarnishing is more of a warm yellowish color, kind of bronzy almost. It's not black like your typical 925 silver is when it tarnishes. So I don't really have complaints about it, and I like it. From the very beginning, I knew that buying this watch, I was running the risk of it tarnishing. And also my previous videos, I did mention I was almost convinced to take it back and return it. I'm really happy I didn't, because this is a one piece unique in the way it's tarnished and the way it has aged. In between the lugs themselves on the case, you can see some tarnishing as well. Again, that's only obvious to the user or to somebody that picks up the watch. The sides of the watches themselves, on the side of the case where the crown is and on the opposite side, have also aged in that similar fashion of just that bronzy color, and maybe where the metal is embossed, you can notice it maybe a little bit more due to how moisture sits within those areas a little bit. Not that I put this watch in water, but I would just kind of assume that that's what is at play. The aluminum bezel has held up great, nothing there, no fading, no scratching on it yet. You will see a little bit of scratches on the sides of the case of my watch. That's just for normal everyday use. I wear this watch to work. I wear it out. And sometimes I wear it when I'm cooking or washing dishes. It just kind of depends on what I'm doing. I don't take it off. I forget it's on the wrist sometimes. So it's held up really nicely to certain dings and bumps and bangs. So going based off of that, 4 years into it, now that you've seen the tarnishing and kind of how it's aged, is this something that you would get for yourself? If you are in the market for a Black Bay 58925, I mean, this is kind of your sign, right? Is the watch for you? I think it's for anybody who likes the way things age. It has character. All right, the most important thing about a watch is its ability to tell time. That is why this thing even exists in the first place. So the movement, how has the movement held up? It's super accurate. It has not been serviced since I've purchased it. I can't complain. The sweep of the second hand is perfect. It keeps time just as accurate as it did when it came out of the AD. No complaints whatsoever. But where I left you guys on a cliffhanger was what happened to the seconds hand. So for you OG subscribers, or maybe somebody who's been following the channel, you'll notice a few videos back I posted that my seconds hand was not straight. It has a bend to it. A lot of you guys told me take it in, it was unacceptable. And so I did. I took it in and I left you guys on a cliffhanger. So here's what happened. They held on to the watch for about a month. About 2 weeks into it, I called back. I asked to see what was going on. They mentioned that they had not sent it back to Tudor. They just had it in their shop. I guess they were trying to see if it was something that would eventually damage the watch, or if it was maybe not keeping time properly because of it. They didn't tell me that until I walked in the full month after. They called me, hey, your watch is ready for pickup. So when I picked up my watch, I asked them what happened, what'd they do? And they told me nothing. They told me that one of their watch technicians had looked at it and couldn't see that it was crooked. But you guys, you can see it in the picture, right? I can see it with my bare. It's not something I can unsee anymore. I just think it was an excuse to not send it in. However, I'm kind of grateful that they didn't, because this doesn't affect how the watch keeps time. It doesn't affect the watch itself. And I don't know why I have OCD about somebody opening up my watch unless it's absolutely necessary. But it's something that I'm living with until it gets its first service, maybe in 5 years. And if you think that I messed up by not demanding them to fix my seconds hand, let me hear it in the comments. Moving on to number 4. Do I regret buying this watch? Regret as in overall, like what I paid for it, what it does for me, how it makes me feel. And the answer to that is no. I love this watch. This watch is part of my collection. It was my first luxury piece. I think the first watch I purchased that I spent an absurd amount of money on was my Hamilton Khaki Pilot. I think I dropped $900 on that, and I felt like that was just too much. And now where I'm at now, the Rolex Explorer retailing at $7,900. You can see the leap that I've taken, and one of those things where I'm probably going to go into a Submariner or into a GMT Master 2 within the coming years. So the addiction just kind of keeps growing with it, but I don't regret it at all. I think that the timepiece itself is beautiful, right? I think that it being a precious metal is very unique. I have multiple stainless steel watches, and this being sterling silver is awesome. It's not white gold, it's not platinum, but what I can tell you is that it not being stainless steel, it in it of itself is just it's really cool in my book. But I think the price point for this watch is at retail pretty good. It was at $4,400 when I bought it. I think right now, I believe the watch is $5,400 on Tudor's website with the leather strap itself. That's $1,000 increase in 4 years. That is crazy. That is absurd. But would I buy this watch again at that price point? Maybe I would, if I was just in love with it as I was the day I got put on the wait list. So at the time, they couldn't keep inventory on this guy when it came out. So again, I kind of did what I did with the Rolex thing. My AD told me that they'd give me a call. They gave me a call a week later telling me the watch was in. So there's just that excitement kind of built. But now that I see, right, looking back, it's like, I'm glad I got in when I got in. These watch prices are just insane. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is, how does this watch hold up in 2026? And more particularly, how does it hold up against other people when they're showing me their Submariners or their Seamasters or Speedmasters? Is it relevant? The Black Bay 58 is definitely relevant. It's iconic. It's Tudor's, I think, perfect size for a watch, depending on what kind of wrist you have, but I think it's just kind of that perfect watch. It's a dive style watch. I don't think I'd ever dive with this thing, but it is such an iconic design. You can't go wrong with it. It holds up perfectly, fits the occasion, doesn't matter what you're doing. It does not look outdated. It's not like they made this watch in a certain hype color scheme that was only relevant when it came out. I think they did it so perfect with the taupe dial and the sterling silver. Such a perfect watch, honestly. Look, I'm just a guy that likes to talk about watches. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I have a lot of other content coming out just like this, right? We still have a Rolex Explorer to do. We have Omega Seamaster to do. I have a lot of other watches in my watch box, and also a state of the collection to come soon. If you're interested, let me know down in those comments below. I will see you on the next video, which will be coming out really soon.